Point is that that's why we're together, right up there. His name is Jesus. Because he prayed that we all may be one. I don't know that we have ever understood the implications of it. But at least from my perspective at this point, as president of Forward in Faith, as some of you have heard me say, I have 5 sons as an Anglo-Catholic and as the president of Forward in Faith. Fourth group, what I would call continuers, or whatever appropriate term, and those are magnificent people of the Anglican tradition who are waiting to see how it works out in some instances, to find where the best place will be in this regard. And who say, I'm going to wait until, and then if we can get that together, we'll work. I think we can cooperate. And then I have a fifth, and that's the one that a lot of people, that son, people seem not to like anymore, and that's because that's where many of them have been. And that fifth son is in the Episcopal Church. I mean, it's ironic in a way, I suppose, as Father will attest to, since we've seen each other at St. Clement's in Philadelphia. As much a part as that place in Philadelphia has ever been a part of the Episcopal Church, I was one of the last visitors that they were allowed in. Because I'm the last living cradle-born Anglo-Catholic bishop in the Episcopal Church. I'm the last. The last one to be born into the Anglo-Catholic tradition to become a bishop. No, there have been other Anglo-Catholic bishops who came along the way. But I say that because I can go to St. Clement's in Philadelphia. They can meet me at the door. They can put the meet me with the canopy, take me over to the side altar to say some of the prayers. I'll sprinkle at the reception at the door with holy water, and also I will cense them. I'll do the Vidi Aqua or the Spurges, depending upon which season it is. I'll go to the throne. They'll vest me, and then I'll go to the foot of the altar, begin in nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti, and say Psalm 43 with the Confiteor. And I'm at home. That's automatic pilot for me. But that's still in the Episcopal Church. This is a place that for a great deal of its history was always happy when the Bishop of Bermuda happened to be in town, so they could have somebody exotic in it. They actually knew this tradition. That way they could keep the Bishop of Pennsylvania in his Rosh Hashanah Evensong once a year or something like that. Why am I telling you this? Because I love all 5 of those sons, and every one of them is convinced that in their particular way they're being faithful and that they are trying to preserve the Anglican patrimony. Every one of my 5 sons is convinced that he's being faithful, and that he's doing what he's been called to do. Not one has ever come to me and said, I just want you to know that I've totally compromised myself by what I'm doing, and I'm a very ineffective priest. In fact, I'm such a magnificent hypocrite, they ought to write a book about me. No one's ever said that. All of them at one time or another say, Bishop, I'm doing the best I can with what I've got and where I am. And every one of them has a very good reason for what they're doing and why they're doing it. And so I have to respect them, even though I may have an opinion or two about it. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Apart from the fact that I'm the president of Forward in Faith, the reality is that I've already told you what I think. I just don't think we have the luxury any longer of standing back and watching the world go by. One of the exercises I had with my priests was a rather simple one. I would always say to them when I make my visitation on Sunday, I just need for you to give me the names of all of the people who live in the neighborhood around the church or around your rectory. I need you to tell me who lives in their house, and I need you to tell me where they go to church. I thought that was a fairly simple thing and kind of a basic thing to be able to ask, so that's what I did. After a couple of times not having it, then it was very simple. I knew what I'd be doing on Sunday afternoon. I'd be taking the priest with me, we'd be knocking on doors together, and I'd be introducing them to the priest. It's a very simple operation. If I don't know who the neighbors are, how do I have a right to proclaim a gospel that's supposed to be drawing in people? If I haven't proclaimed the gospel to my family, how do I have a right to go off and start proclaiming it in a neighborhood? If I'm not willing to proclaim it to my family and to my neighborhood, what right do I have to go off and tell a diocese what they're supposed to be doing? It's absurd. Orthodoxy is not something to be held up with 10 tenets. Orthodoxy is something that has to be lived out. The Catholic faith is not something that is enshrined. The Catholic faith is that which is taken out among the people because Jesus is already there. He's been waiting for us to catch up. He's already there. He's not waiting for us to show up so that we can start singing How Great I Art. He's waiting for us to be able to show up so that we can do the work that He's prepared for us to do already. Asked a priest one Sunday, one of Anglo-Catholic parish of mine, I said, Father, what is your evangelism plan? He said, Solemn High Mass, 11 o'clock every Sunday. I said, well, that's going to get him. I mean, if we advertise ourselves as that's the essence of who we are, I mean, I could live there and be a happy camper. I've never served any place where I didn't have a daily Mass. I've never served any place where the daily office wasn't said. I've never served any place where we didn't have confessions on Saturday. So whoopee. You know, does that make that a great parish because that's what it offers? No. Not unless there's meat that's put on those bones. Not unless that's being offered to the people. I remember one time asking a group of seminarians, I was teaching a class, I asked a group of seminarians if they would do me a favor and tell me how many healings that Jesus did inside the synagogue. And I said, okay, let's take it. How about inside the temple? How many miracles? How many miracles were done in the streets? In a person's home? Out among broken people? How many miracles were done out there? Now why is it, and I haven't figured this out yet, why is it that the ministry of Jesus is all about Him going to people, and the ministry of the church all too often has been bring them inside the building? I don't understand that, but I'd like to find out. Because I don't understand. What I also don't understand is, since it's obvious to me that the sacraments are portable realities, why it is they have to be done inside. In the last year that I've been doing therapy in central Dallas, I've spent more time hearing confessions, either sitting on the curbs talking to homeless people and hearing their confession, or anointing people under bridges than I have at the altar rail in my previous many years of ministry. And I've been really looking carefully in the gospel to try and find out what happened when somebody wanted to touch the hem of his garment and an apostle stopped them and said, what is it you want? And they said, well, sir, we wish to see Jesus. Say, you're in luck. He has a slot open at 4:30 on Friday. Or somebody that says, if I could only have His shadow fall upon me, I'd be healed. And they say, well, you are also blessed because every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, Jesus has a healing liturgy. Isn't that sweet? Now, the reason I'm going in this direction with you is because you understand. I'm really happy being at the altar. I'm really happy being at the confessional. I am really happy doing benediction of the Blessed Sacrament. I love that. But if that doesn't happen in the streets, then there's something wrong.